Remember at the start of that last episode where I mentioned new political realities across the globe? I didn't think we'd be at war at the start of the next episode. Yeah, didn't think that, but here we are. Hello, Legion, this is Hadrian. Thank you for being here. Let's play some more Civilization 6 in our In Denial series. We're at war with Mansa Musa. He just declared war, and he is rolling into Tenochtitlan's territory, or Montezuma's territory, but we're going to roll right back. I have a number of units in place, and I'm going to do what I can to kind of have my artillery in position and push back against this shenaniganry that has just started. I really was not expecting it, but I'll take it because it gives us a little bit of additional drama towards the end of a series that has started going very, 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 very smoothly. So I'm putting a couple of my units in harm's way a bit by bringing them in range of an active volcano, which is slightly problematic. Let me see which city-states I'm at war with, if any. It is Cahokia. So Cahokia, we actually have a war with them. I was wondering why I couldn't move through their territory. So I'm going to have to move this unit up that way. And then finally, the jet fighter here. I need to deploy them. Let's see, if I deploy them here... Yeah, I'm going to deploy them right here and see if I can't just sort of guard this area to the best of my ability. Meanwhile, let's get more of our units on the move. I've got to make sure that I get all of my units selected here so I don't leave any in standby mode. It's very easy to do at this stage in any game of Civ 6 because you've sort of put all of your units to bed, so to speak. You've had everyone relax. And you want to make sure that you bring everyone out of stasis so that you can actually get some fighting done. So let's see what else I've got. I've got the Missile Cruiser Armada over here. It's going to take a moment for this ship to be able to do anything useful, but we are going to move them. We've got this modern armor army that is... Actually, I can steal that builder right now. Get wrecked. That worked out really well. Honestly, I didn't even see that coming. And then, of course, I have a lot that I can improve for Phocaea over here using this builder. But I think I'm going to improve that fishing boat area first. We have this destroyer fleet that we can move. Currently, it's only one other player involved in the war, which is good. All right, I'm going to move you up there. Let's see what else we have. We have this rocket artillery army. Recall that we have 3 rocket artillery armies, all very, very nicely upgraded, and now we're going to be able to do even more in that regard. So I might implement some policies next time I have the opportunity in 2 turns that will make me militarily even stronger, and I hope not to have to resort to nuclear weapons. But I'm going to protect my ally, Montezuma. He's been my ally from the beginning of the game. He was my ally through all of the difficulties with Gorgo. And he didn't necessarily help directly in the war, but we were able to accomplish a lot during wartime, specifically because we didn't have, because of the effort that had been put in by him and other civilizations, including, I think, Mansa Musa, who we're now at war with, to, keep Gorgo busy. And as a consequence, we just rolled right through it. It was pretty crazy. All right, I'm going to build a jet bomber in Thebes, because we're gonna need to do some bombing for sure. I can go ahead and buy a research lab in Apu, so let's do that. Can I also do a broadcast center? No, I can't. But, you know what I can do? I can train... You know what? I'm going to train a nuclear sub-fleet. And I'm going to send my nuclear submarine, which is currently hanging out over here. I'm going to send them over to Apu. It's going to take 10 turns for that nuclear submarine to move. But it's going to take 9 turns for that new one to build. Now, Eritrea... See, this is so interesting. Now we actually have more military decisions to make. I'm going to train up a helicopter army, because I could use something to raid with. I'm tempted to train a couple of those, actually. Yeah, let me do that. Isn't my aid request... Yeah, this competition we have going right now is to help Mansa Musa, which is freaking funny. I'm going to build just another modern combat, or modern armor army, so that we have a little bit more capability. All right, let's repair the outer defenses of Corinth. A lot of his troops are tanks, and so I'm kind of bearing that in mind. I'm going to go ahead and build a food market in Heh so that that city continues to grow quickly. I love the name of that city. Oh my god. It just cracks me up. All right, so that builder is slightly in danger. All right, relic created if this apostle dies in religious combat. All right, now I'm kind of tempted to move these spies. We have Layla, brand new spy. Let's go ahead and start spying on Mansa Musa's territory. Outright, let's just do it. Let's actually spy on Tadeni, which is one of their frontline cities that we're going to be attacking first. We have a lot of work to do. There are a number of cities that, or a number of units that are looking like quite powerful, so I'm going to have to be careful here. But it looks like I do have some opportunities to continue to improve my rail line, so I'll do that. Eritrea. Yeah, I want you to trade with Tenochtitlan. I think that'll be one of the best trade routes I can set up. We have the mechanized infantry here. We're going to move them right there. This apostle is our debater, and I don't think there's an obvious opportunity, so we'll skip that. Yeah, I'm going to move this rocket artillery army one step farther. And then this supply convoy, or rather, this modern armor army, I'll move them right here, close to Tenochtitlan, but I don't think there is going to be any real threat just yet. All right, Thebes. Do we have a trade route for Thebes? We do not. So let's see what we can do production-wise. We could trade with Kerma, which this is a city belonging to who now? I wish it were a little bit more straightforward. Hang on. Oh yeah, it's down here. This is Nubia. And I don't want to bring in that religion pressure-wise. So you know what? I'm just going to have Thebes trade with Rockadet. I'm giving up a little bit of gold per turn, but I mean, seriously, my gold per turn at this point is immaculate. It's fine. I'm happy with what I've got. All right, so up here, I'm not going to do a seastead there. We're going to do a seastead there, because you can't put two seasteads next to each other. I'll have to be mindful of that. Looks like we can do some additional repairs, and we're moving on to the next turn. This will be interesting to see how this goes. It looks like trade route from Rockadet to Tenochtitlan is no longer active. That's incredibly rude. So are they moving their units over to attack me? Is that what's happening? Because that's not going to go well for them. Like, even a little bit. It does seem like they moved most of their units into the water. Cahokia is doing a little bit of fighting against the Aztec artillery here. Yeah, this is going to be ugly for you guys. Your cities are built properly. Thank you. Thank you so much, Amanator. Appreciate you. All right, so first of all, let's annihilate their one on-land artillery, or tank unit. It's a tank army. Bye-bye. Now we have this unit set to air attack. Or set to deploy, and I can't air attack anywhere but Cahokia. So, I mean, I suppose I could go ahead and attack with them just to gain some experience. Let's do that. Meanwhile, Akhetaten, we can start running the carbon recapture if I wanted to, but I actually don't want to right now. I would like to do things that directly help with defending against this shenaniganry that's happening at the moment. So, let's do a new machine gun army. Now I have a number of units that are gonna be able to make moves right now. First of all, I can move this unit into position and fire on their units in the water. Same here. Gain some nice experience for that. Now, I want to bear in mind that there are some units, and I do want to have my infantry here in position to support. Yeah, let's go ahead and put them here, and then next turn I'll decide what to do. But there are some units that I might be able to just sneak straight up into Mansa Musa's territory. But I also want to bear in mind that it might be worthwhile if he's going to start, you know, trying to send his units directly towards me. It might be worth it to have some of my unit, like this one, be up in Memphis. Have some of my units, some of my army be up in Memphis. It just seems like that might be a sensible thing to do, at least temporarily. All right, let's bring you in here. And am I forgetting any units that are still chilled out? No. Looks like we're pretty solid. Alright, this modern armor army is just going to move that direction. Now, I can still do lots of additional training. Let's see, it looks like I need at least one... Yeah, I need at least one encampment district that has a... more of a stable focus. So like a cavalry focus. Alright, I can use my... Oh, nice. Let's do an art museum here because we have a great artist that's been waiting for a place to be able to put his work. So there's that. Can't do anything with the broadcast center just yet, but I can... Let's think. Yeah, I'm going to train a new missile cruiser armada to kind of function in this area, because if he really wants to mess, you know, if he wants to mess around, then he's got another thing coming. Let's go ahead and repair the aquarium in Corinth. Or do we need to build a harbor? Harbor might be a good idea in Corinth. Yeah, let's do a harbor. How about that? And then we can do a hangar in Pharsalos. Looks like we did manage to successfully steal another great work there. Thebes is already trading with Tenochtitlan, so let's go ahead and continue that route. And continue to make sure that all of our cities are adequately connected. Yep, we definitely want to repair that tile there. Nothing more that I can do in that area. Alright, now the modern anti-tank army, I will go ahead and position them on the coast here. Alright, the machine gun army will stay kind of defensive. Now here, we're going to have an offshore wind farm, and then we'll do a seastead right there. Next to where the fishing boat will be, and next to that reef. So let's gain sources on Tadeni. Because this is not going to go well for Mansa Musa at all. He has made a tremendous mistake. Alright, we have a brand new builder here, and I kind of want to figure something out here. Yeah. Well, it's actually Athens that needed power, but it looks like Athens does have power. That's useful. Alright, so we've got our military units moving through as rapidly as possible. Let's continue to the next turn. Still going to move through turns pretty quickly. It's not like the war with Sparta, where she was superior in like every way. Mansa Musa does not have the military power that Gorgo had. Not by a long shot. So I'm just going to be able to wreck face. No, we're not friends. You declared war on a city-state that I consider allied, so sorry, not friends. Looks like Cahokia did some damage there. Hopefully not to my unit.
The incomplete becomes complete.
Not to my unit.
The crooked becomes straight. The empty becomes full. The worn out becomes new. Ah, my beloved, fill the cup that clears today of past regrets and future fears. Tomorrow? Why, tomorrow I may be myself, with yesterday's 7,000 years.
Okay, so now I can change policies. I can give myself additional combat experience, which might be a good idea. I also don't really need it, to tell you the truth. I could just replace Levy en masse, because I make plenty of gold per turn, and I'm about to make more. Yeah, let's do that. Let's get the additional combat experience, replace Levy en masse. Our gold per turn is, just dropped down to 392. That's still plenty. Rocket artillery is now promotable, which is freaking funny. So we have even more damage now against land units. And we can still use this rocket artillery to do this. Remember, Mansa Musa, you brought this on yourself. Alright, so most of the units that were out in the water just got schooled. Like, utterly annihilated. Badly. Let's move you here and plunder that trade route. There's some gold right there. Now we're in a slightly more aggressive position now. But we're still well fortified. Yeah, this is actually working really well. Let's go ahead and put our army up there. We're in position to do a lot of damage very quickly. Like, it's a little bit gross. Alright, why don't you just attack Cahokia again? We'll get the experience from that. So it seems like maybe I don't need to have the machine gun army in place, but I want to keep them there for one more turn just in case there are units in the water that I can't see. All right, we are researching Off-World Mission, which are the two technologies we can use to speed the final project along, and now we are researching Future Civic. Awards 1 governor title and 50 diplomatic favor each time it is completed. So we're going to start farming diplomatic favor, basically, which will make it easier to knock out the diplomatic victory as well. As I mentioned in the last episode, there's a good chance that we will, just by virtue of how well things are going on the diplomatic front and the scientific front, but mainly the diplomatic, there's a good chance that we will win the game while this war is ongoing. I don't think it's like... It's not a guarantee by any means, and I still feel like maybe I was jumping the gun a little bit, but if things move in the right direction, there's a good chance we'll just win outright. So that's the way things are going at the moment, and it's pretty great. All right, let's keep moving up this way. There are some additional things I can do with my military engineers. I do want to improve those... Yeah, I do want to improve those crabs, so let's get that done. Okay, so this modern armor army can go up here. We have a destroyer fleet still making its way around toward Mansa Musa's territory. Oh, wait. I thought that was my military fleet, but it's not. Missile Cruiser Armada is still cruising along. Okay, so here we build a seastead. We don't have fishing boats there yet, but we will. And we want to improve that there so that we have a plantation in Corinth. See, there's still a lot happening just to get the full potential out of Gorgo's territory. We're not even done integrating Gorgo's territory, and we're already at war with another empire, thanks to our military alliance. But it's just, at this point, it's just going to lock in our victory in a lot of ways, I think. I don't see it being an impediment in any way. Yeah, I think he's quickly realizing his mistake. This is not going well. Nice. Yeah, it looks like Tenochtitlan, or rather Montezuma, has some pretty good defenses set up at this point. They made a massive mistake. This is a huge miscalculation by Mansa Musa. I don't know what he was thinking. But this is not going to go well for him at all. All right, moderate flood in the city of Sha'at. All right, so it looks like we have successfully disrupted rocketry in Recife, which is great. So she can breach the dam. She can also foment arrest. Man. All right, neutralize governor. I was hoping for a better set of promotions than that, but it is what it is. Swinet, what do you have available to you? You know what? Yeah, go ahead and build another helicopter army. I'm doing that in a few cities, but it's okay. All right, Shadet. Ooh. Shadet could build an encampment. It totally could. We could build an encampment right there. We can also go ahead and build the zoo in Sparta and continue, you know, bolstering the amenities of nearby cities. I can buy a sewer outright in Kamun. I think another builder is probably a good idea here. Also, it looks like I can have a trader in Kamun, and I need that, so let's go ahead and set that up. It's not lost on me that this city is actually very near Mansa Musa's territory. We're going to be kind of bringing our ships in almost as if to defend Kamun, but it doesn't look like it's going to be necessary. All right, we can't quite buy a tile yet that would give us a harbor, but we can... We could build an aerodrome. Let's work on that. Choose escape route. Nice, so we did successfully escape. Sometimes the way Civ 6 presents spy operations throws me off a little bit, because you'll get the reward, it'll say successful, and then you'll have to get them out of the city, and then they die. Sometimes. Not always. If there's a failure, then they die, and then you're sad. You're like, wait a minute. I thought we succeeded. I are confused. All right, let's get some of these fishing boats improved, because that's a lot of just food and production and gold that we're sitting on that it would probably be better not to sit on. All right, so the machine gun army here. Let's just put some of these rocket artilleries like in position to support an offensive. There we go. I can go ahead and fire on that encampment in Taudeni. And I could also go ahead and position this unit here so that I could move this unit here and fire on that encampment in Taudeni with this rocket artillery army. This is not gonna go well for you. This is gonna be ugly. Yeah, and we can fortify some of these units too. We don't have to fight with them every single turn. Alright, we'll have that rocket artillery kind of bringing up the back. Alexander Column is done. Alright, so this is going well. Looks like a little bit of bombing going on. Were they going to hit Tenochtitlan? Interesting decision. Alright, so they are firing on my mechanized infantry army, and they did almost no damage. That is sad. Looks like they do have some units still in the area that they're trying to advance with. I don't know what he was thinking. This is bad. This is This is bad. All right, so it looks like there are some resources I could trade. 30 gold per turn and open borders. You know what? Sure. 30 gold per turn for 30 turns. You're going to give me 900 gold. Sure. Mega Coloss. Ooh. Well, there goes Vesuvius. Again. So that's our first major eruption, I think, of Vesuvius since we took control. And Vesuvius has wrecked Ephesus. Man. That volcano is a bit of a bear. In case you didn't know this. 100% production towards space race projects. Werner von Braun. Okay. So that doubles our production towards space race projects. We can go ahead and buy a broadcast center here. We have a builder ready here. And I do want to go ahead and get power going so that Edfu actually has power, because right now they don't. And I could do an industrial zone to further help with that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know. I could also put one down here, and it would help with Rocketet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, yeah. I could put one right here. It would really help with Rocketet. I'd rather have it here, though, because we have farmland on this territory that I don't want to get rid of. All right, let's go ahead and build a seaport in Neken. Got a bunch of cities over there that we're pretty much, like, not even worried about that much. Let's get a... Oh, we can't quite do the broadcast center yet, can we? Okay. I guess we'll just get another builder going in Mycenae for now. Military Academy in Phocaea. I'm not putting a ton of thought, like, again, because this isn't the war with Gorgo. It's not like I have some huge thought process behind everything that I'm selecting in those various cities. I'm just thinking in terms of what, in general, my empire needs kind of across the board. Okay, let's continue to do improvements in this area. Okay, and now the fun continues. Oh my god, we can fire on Todden from here. Alright, we can at least fire on the encampment district, which is hilarious to me. Alright, so what I'm going to do with that is we're going to move in and we're going to take control of that district. Okay, we're going to gain some experience, and now I can really start wrecking with these units. We're going to gain a ton of gold from this. We're going to utterly destroy his economy. Alright, can't quite pillage this turn, but it's fine. It's going to be real ugly. We still have all of our artillery in place. Can't quite rebase these jet fighters at the moment. I'm just going to send him to attack Cahokia. This Apostle, we can skip the turn. And then we have you. You know, I can go ahead and grab some archaeological items from Nubia's territory. So I'm going to do that. Now this supply convoy... Oh, wait, no. This modern armor army. If I moved you here, would you be in danger? Not really. Now we've got to do a little bit of attacking of the city before we can actually get away with taking it. Bust of Tsar Alexander. All right, now apparently we don't actually have any trade routes from Kamun at the moment, which is weird. Not surprising, though. It's probably just too far away from anything that could trade. It is a very remote city that we snagged just almost purely for nuclear reasons. All right, so we have a promotion available for our mechanized infantry army, which is great news. I think this city's probably going to fall this turn. That's really the level of fighter that you're attacking with. That's what you brought. This is... Listen, Mansa Musa, I don't know what you're doing. All right, so it really does seem like militarily the technology level for Montezuma is just astronomically higher. Our exoplanet expedition is 4 turns away from launching, and then we just have to get it to where it's going to go, and we win a science victory. And that's ignoring the... Hang on. Are we about to win this? In 6 turns, if nothing stops us from winning this competition, which it doesn't look like anything is, we will win, unless we have a Congress session take away any diplomatic victory points. All right, so... Extra combat strength when fighting in a district? Yes. I would like that very much. Alright, so this is going to be super ugly. Alright, I do want to go ahead and defeat some of these units before I hit Taudeni. I really do. Oh, we still have this Spec Op army. Holy crap. And this... Okay, we have a couple more. We do have a couple more units that I can move into the fray, so let's get them into action. The Spec Ops army is particularly useful. Tell you what, let's have the Mobile Sam... Yeah, this is going to be fun, because we can paradrop this unit over pretty significant distances. Let's have the Mobile Sam move of its own accord into a position of a little bit more impact. And I guess this machine gun army, I will move them towards the road where they can actually join the war effort directly. All right, I'm going to go ahead and queue up another jet bomber in Thebes. All right, it looks like we can, in fact, get some railroads set up there. Let's get a wind farm going there, as I believe was the plan. I kind of want to remove this improvement here, and I want to just have... What we're going to do here is have, like, farms, exclusively. That's what we did before. For whatever reason, I built a mine there. Also, we are 30 minutes into the episode, so we'll have to break away at some point soon-ish. Alright, so let's get a seastead built here. Alright, brand new mission for Bahiti, which is our top spy. Let's send them to the capital of our enemy. Our alliance with the Monitor has run its course, and will have to be renewed. I wonder how she's going to feel about the fact that I'm about to take some... I'm definitely about to take some artifacts from her. Like, just straight up. Just going to gank some artifacts right out from underneath her in just a second. Alright, Jet Bomber. I can reposition you to Memphis. We're going to move the Missile Cruiser Armada a little bit closer, and the Destroyer Fleet we're going to bring up here. We're almost in a position where we can actually do damage with the Destroyer Fleet. Trader has nothing to do at the moment. Okay. Now we can continue our efforts. So I can definitely gank some gold. Pretty straightforwardly. Right, I can't do anything with that right now. And pillage for faith. Okay, so if I attack with my mechanized infantry this turn, I actually will... Those walls are actually pretty strong, so I'm going to fortify them in position, and we're going to hit the walls a couple of times with our artillery before I get too crazy. We're going to fortify that unit as well. Why don't you go ahead and sabotage production at Tawdeni. Excavate artifact. A clock from a monitor. Yeah, I'll bet you she's not thrilled about that. We're probably about to hear from her right now. 10 to 17 turns until the next era. We definitely have a golden age locked in. 10-point buffer, in fact. So that's pretty freaking amazing. All right, interestingly enough, they've managed to do a good amount of damage to my modern army, but I think... Oh man, Montezuma is just wrecking this. I mean, he didn't even really need our help. I'm bringing it just because I can, but we're 3 turns away from finishing the exoplanet expedition. The turns are still generally going pretty quickly. Okay. So she's not happy about that. You cannot lay claim to history. I will dig where I please. I had cultural artifacts stolen from me by Gorgo. I'm clearly no better. I'm just trying to be as annoying as Cleo normally is in a game. You know, I feel like I've got to fill the role, fill the shoes.
After 11 days' passage
Is that fair?
Flight, I perceived we began to approach another Earth, if I may so call it, being the globe, or very body of that star, which we call the moon. You can never plan the future by the past.
All right, so it looks like there's some radioactive steam venting going on in Granada. Yeah, we're no longer allied with the Monitor. City is... Wait. The city's starving. Which one? Let's have a look. Because I closed that notification, and now I can't tell which city is starving. Shadet. Okay, that probably means just their trade route needs to be renewed. Yeah, that's what it is. That's all it is. We just need to renew their trade route with Rockadet, and it is no longer starving. It's fine. All right. We're 38 minutes into the episode. We're at the beginning of turn 256. We are 4 turns away from potentially winning the game. Like, there's a pretty good chance in the next episode we will win the game by default. In 2 episodes, the exoplanet expedition will launch, which will put us on the road towards the science victory, and no one else is close. Montezuma hasn't even researched smart materials yet. I, on the other hand, am 2 turns away from launching the exoplanet expedition. Culturally, I mean, we have some, looks like pretty good competition from Suleiman, but nothing good enough. So definitely continuing to move in a good direction. We'll have some entertaining final moments for the series, though, because of this war, unexpected war with Mansa Musa. I don't think nuclear, deterrence is going to be necessary, just given how well it's going already. But looks like we're going to finish out the series. Rather than finishing on a peaceful note, we'll finish it on a somewhat combative, fiery note. So that's fun. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this one, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to follow along. If it's not your first time or even your second, look for the join button to access unique emotes, badges, and additional perks. And new episodes are coming out every day at 10 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. Comments are always welcome. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time.